he forgot everything. That boy, youngster means 21, 20, I think 20 years old. And he said, sir, बहुत मार रहा है. आगे से भी मार रहा है, पीछे से भी मार रहा है, समझ में नहीं आ रहा क्या हो रहा है. So I knew, and his voice I could make it that he's just about to cry. So I said, "Yaar, see, buddy, it's war time. Please don't seduce me." And he also started laughing. Okay, just calm down and let me know which side he is hitting you. And we had drills. We could identify from where the enemy, and I just told him where all to, because he was new. I knew that post very well. So I told Ki Falana this, uske saath, do this, this, this. I gave him task. The moment I gave him task, he was clicked on this thing. And that day, in spite of the heaviest shelling which we received means till that date, and this is after Abhinandan. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
And Abhinandan happened above us.
Yeah.
So this is immediately after that, and that was the day. Means we not only we managed to control our own boys in the way I wanted. We within 30-35 minutes, because understand this, that what enemy does, we don't know, means what volley or what volume, but the reaction is in our hand. So we reacted in a manner which the enemy got a very, very substantial casualties that day. And it was accorded all over. But I remember that one discussion with this boy. And it was funny. It was funny.
Yeah. So, good morning. I'm Vishal Rajput. Today I'm going to interview Colonel Rahul Tyagi for the Military Oral Archives project. Military Oral Archive project was launched by the Center for Military History and Conflict Studies of the United Service Institution of India in collaboration with the History Division of the Ministry of Defense to seek to record the reminiscences of the military veterans who have participated in various wars. A very welcome to you on the Military Oral Archives project, Colonel Rahul Tyagi. So
Thank you.
Brief introductions about Colonel Rahul Tyagi. So Colonel Rahul Tyagi is affiliated to the 12th Battalion of the Madras Regiment, and he is involved in the infantry branch of service. And he has served in various operations in Jammu and Kashmir and the Northeast. So I hope he will be involved in various counterinsurgencies and other operations of the Indian Army, and his experience and his, I can say, wisdom on the ground. It will be really helpful to guide the future, scholars and the other practitioners of the military history to understand the dynamics of the ground reality. So this interview recorded on 16th February 2022 at New Delhi. So I would like to start with the basic juggling of your initial memories. So can you please let us know that why did you enlist in the Indian Army, and what were your reasons to join the Indian Army? Like if you have the military background or something.
Yeah, my father was he was in Border Roads Organization. It's a paramilitary force, and he was a Border Roads cadre. Although we do have army officers going into it. So since my childhood, I've been motivated by looking at the uniform. However, at the same time, I was not interested in army at that time. I was looking for Air Force, and I applied for NDA for Air Force, and did get into merit also. However, I had specs, so because of the eyesight and the medical, I was not taken. So army being my second choice, I landed up there. At the same time, I was also studying for engineering exams, and I did appear for a number of them, including IIT and other things. I got admission in Punjab University, PEC, Punjab Engineering College in Chandigarh. I was studying in Chandigarh that time. So I had an option, and I did fill the form of Punjab Engineering College, and actually I moved out from the queue on the last day. When my father gave me fees for both school, NDA as well as the engineering. And he said that I would love you to go to NDA if feasible. So I don't know what changed my mind. I was very young that time. 17 and a half is too young to understand things. But something I realized that we must follow our heart. So I went to India. So maybe the motivation behind was, let's be very, very frank. When I was standing in the line for the engineering college, I saw students all with big specs and huge glasses, and I said that, is this what I want to do in my life? Because I've been a sportsman throughout my life.
Oh,
I said no. Maybe NDA is better. At that time, the only thing came in my mind was fitness and probably the charm of the uniform. I think that was the motivation at that time. Means you're too young to understand things of life at that young age. So
yeah.
that's how I joined.
So yeah, that's really wonderful to know that you had actually, listened to your mind that you go
Yeah,
for the engineering and
yeah,
rather than
yeah,
serving in the Indian Army.
yeah.
So, like you
So,
mentioned that you wanted to join the Indian Air Force and instead of Indian Army. So, why exactly you choose the infantry service of branch in the Indian Army? Like, I
okay, again,
know
this
about
was
it.
not my choice. Again, it was not my choice. The selection procedure in army is entirely different. Based on whatever you have done in your academy days, a merit is made, and the merit is divided into separate blocks.
Okay.
So you initially go to NDA, but everyone is together
Mhm.
for good about initial 2.5 years.
Mhm.
And thereafter, the last 6 months is the specialized training for whichever arm you are. Like naval officers will go for naval training,
Mhm.
which is called NTT Naval Training Team conducts that. The similar manner Army team conducts the Army portion of it.
Mhm.
And so I landed in Army, and when I that time the motivation for a cadet is never, I should say, which particular arm, until unless he has seen Army, somebody whose parents have been in Army and all. However, somebody like me, although my father was in paramilitary, so I have seen Army officers in border roads who were primarily from technical arm,
Mhm.
which is more like engineers and EME. So my father himself being a electrical engineer. So I was more bent for that.
Mhm.
So when I reached there, we didn't knew infantry is what means. You do come to know from instructors, but very less time was there in IMA. So after NDA, with the last 6 months, when you do specialized training, you go to respective training academies. The Air Force goes to the AFA, the Naval goes to Cochin, and we go to IMA. So that's where some places you start building or you start understanding how army works, and you choose a particular arm. Okay,
Mhm.
so I chose engineers. However, at the same time, you do give three options for infantry also. That's mandatory for everyone across the board if you don't get your choice of arm.
Mhm.
And invariably what they do is the best merit guys,
Mhm.
when it is made into blocks, the overall, say there are 90 students, or say 100 students, so 20 batches are made of five batches are made. So each batch will have the same amount of vacancies for a particular arm, whether it is infantry, artillery, or anything else.
Fair
So
enough.
what the idea is that the best lot also goes to the same arm, and
Mhm.
the lot which is probably not good in merit as of now will also go in arm. That's a separate thing altogether that I have seen number of officers. This marriage doesn't count. It only counts only up till your choice. Thereafter, what you do in career and how you proceed ahead,
Mhm.
that what makes difference. So I did not choose infantry, but I was, because invariably what we have seen from others, I was mentally prepared for it. And actually infantry being the queen of army, everything which is taught in your training curriculum and thereafter in the service also is related with infantry.
Okay.
So it was easier, and I should say not very, like if I would have gone in engineers, I would have done engineering and all, uh, which probably would have taken me a little away from what is called soldiering. But I was happy at the end of the day, although uh, I wanted to join infantry, but I promised my father that I'll fill engineers, so I filled engineers.
Oh, okay.
My platoon commander wanted to take me in his unit, which was very nice of him. He somehow felt that I'm worthy enough for his own battalion.
Mhm.
But as the luck would have had it, I told every time I was in Murga position in front of him, because I used to say, "Sorry, sir, I have promised my father." So that's how it landed. I landed in the infantry. So that's about the choosing of arm. Yeah.
Okay. So like we like in my generation, we used to hear that like my vice chancellor, he was also the lieutenant general, legal Muslim. So he used to
Okay.
actually tell us that there's a very different life in the IMA or in the defense person's life. It is very actually
Yeah.
the civilians one. They can enjoy, they can do other things, but they are supposed to, just other
Yeah, it doesn't happen.
strict deadlines. So like I just wanted to understand that what were your initial experience while inducting into the Indian Army? Like how did you cope with changes and how?
Okay. It's not only for me, it's applicable for all officers. When you land in the Pulton, it's a mixed bag of feelings.
Mhm.
You have not seen army life so far in the manner which actually you will live for next 20, 30 years. At the same time, you have had certain training. You probably are the fittest at that. Means you're just fresh from academy. You are the most motivated, most fittest. But there are certain things which you need to learn how the organization functions, and most importantly, you are not tactically qualified at that level. You may be able to do CI operations and all, but so there are a lot of mixed experience, or I should say feelings at that time. I remember categorically when I reached in academy, you don't even see your platoon commander very often, which is a captain rank. And I landed and I was called by the CO, who's a colonel, for an interview. I'm telling you, I was shit scared. so and so somehow I was lucky because we had very good set of officers, and the seniors were very nice. They knew the problems of a youngster, and they could help me gel into it. And there was another, I should say, stream of luck. There was a competition which was going on, which is a professional competition, which required a lot of physical activity and
True.
firing and motivation and running with weights and all. So my commanding officer, in his first interview, that was my second day in the battalion, and he said that my first task to you is to fit into this team. And Touchwood, God grace, I did well, and we did win the competition. So
Oh,
initial 2 months itself, I was able to set myself in the battalion, and that's when people start respecting you.
mhm.
So when the respect starts coming in, then you start doing things automatically to live up to that standard, and
Mhm.
slowly, and a lot of people were there to guide. There were so many seniors, the Jawans, senior Jawans, JCOs,
Mhm.
my Subedar Major. These are the people who helped, and I think I didn't face much of a problem when
Oh,
I joined.
okay.
Yeah, I didn't face. I was lucky, I should say. I landed up in a very, very fine battalion, and
Mhm.
the set of officers and the team was amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, do you really that you mentioned about your instructors and your the people over there who helped you actually to go through this whole, I can say professional training? Do you still remember your instructor after serving a lot of year in the Indian Army?
Yeah, you don't forget them. Okay, it's not easy in army to forget your instructors. Okay, because you have seen their worst and the best parts.
Mhm.
Okay, and at the same time, all of them had one single aim: to train you for the worst in army life.
Okay.
Some has their own ways and means of, like, somebody will be very nice to you, at the same time he'll motivate you to do something. Somebody
Mhm.
will just kick your ass and make you do it. But
Okay.
yes, I remember all of them. I don't think all the army courses which I have done thereafter in service, the platoon commanders in IMA, the div commanders in divos in the NDA. I remember all of them. You can't forget them. You can't. They have lasting impact on you. They change your life. They change your life. They change the way you think.
It's really wonderful to know that you had a very fond memories of your initial training and while you joined. It's really
Not
wonderful.
only initial, even throughout my life. Means like the later on also when we at 14 years, 15 years service also whenever we did post. Rather I'm in touch with most of them now.
Okay.
Few of them have retired also, but I'm in touch. Yeah.
So like coming into your experience while serving in the army. So like, did you involved in any counterinsurgency operations or any war?
Yeah, means infantry officer, we are bound to go for that. I have had 3 tenures in JNK, which is of CI operations, and I have had 1 tenure in the Northeast. And invariably, when an infantry battalion lands up in Northeast, it doesn't serve in a particular state. It generally moves around 1 year in one state, 1 year in one state. So I've seen 3 states there. And although the tenure was comparatively less as compared to JNK, so more experience is on towards the JNK side. In addition to that, yes, I have served in Siachen. I have had 2 high altitude tenures. Rather, my first tenure itself, when I was a young captain, lieutenant, and just to be promoted to captain, I was in JNK, and it was a very, very active area. And I don't think I ever slept, or my CO let me. I was leading a special team, so more the reason name the highest pahadi, and I climbed all of them.
Okay.
But yes, it was fun that you are fit enough to do at that age, and yes. I have had my share. Yeah, I should say that.
So, like, do you remember the arriving at your, operations, because it's I think for a military person, it's a one-time experience to involve in any.
Yeah, the first time I landed, I remember, although we have heard stories and all, we reached Srinagar and thereafter we were moving up and going to the area. And the first day, it was a long march. We were inducted because of various reasons, not by vehicles. And we marched good about 18 hours, if I'm not wrong, in snow-clad mountains. And before that, we did have certain acclimatization training. And when we were moving, we crossed certain ridge lines from where we could see the area where we are going to get deployed, and it was amazing. And one team had already reached who was supposed to be receiving us, and at that time, after 18 hours, when you're moving with your weapon and you're all load and with your complete boys, you can't show that you are tired, although you are shit tired. You just want to sit, but your boys are looking at you, and then you again, in all that, you show a good face. The best thing which I remember was the halwa I had after reaching there. It means we reached late in the evening, and I'm telling you, means it was bliss. So that was means whatever the tiredness was, it went off, and more than that, the team which had gone ahead had gone about 2 months in advance. So a number of friends there and senior officers, we met them. It was nice. It was nice, and yes, it takes time to settle down in a new area. So the troops we were replacing, my complete battalion was replacing, means and then within first 2 months, 3 months, you saw the complete area. It's a more good about 32 kilometers of frontage. So it was a huge area. Means those times the troops density used to be very, very less. So in a particular area where probably today are 5 to 6 battalions, that time there was only 1 battalion. So, and in that my team was the one special one, and there was another officer with me, is very close friend. So we both used to roam around here and there, and so it was fun. It is good, very good experience, and I'm blessed that I got it right in the starting of my career. It's one of the most satisfying tenure which was there. Although that time we didn't realize, we used to just curse the CO and the second in command. Kahan chada diya, kidhar bhej diya, jungle mein baithe hain, pani nahi hai. You are shitting in jungles with your boys. The only difference is you're going on the left side, they're going on the right side. That's the only difference. Means there's nothing on top of you, there is nothing below you. You're just having your weapon and some pre-cooked ration, shakarpara, and those kind of things. Nowadays, a lot of ready-to-eat food is there. That time there was nothing. It was made by the langar cook, some shakarpara, some matri. These are the ones which you carry. Or you being an officer, you have little more money, so you could buy. Even that time, money was very less. I remember, I still remember categorically that time my salary used to be 12,450 rupees. So, but then, yes, I'm talking about 2003. So we could buy chocolates, we could buy something. So at least we were okay. But then you can't eat it in front of your boys. Means if you're eating, you are sharing. If you're eating, you are sharing. Yes, army did take care of us. But those who were on the post, those who were roaming around like Bakarwals, there's no way.
So, Colonel Rahul, while you were serving in those operations, so what was your position at that time? And what was your job actually that you are supposed to do in that operation, like leading this, troops on the fields, or if you have any combat during the operations? So I just wanted to know more about it.
During that initial time, I was like a platoon commander. And later on upgraded to a company commander. Mostly infantry officers up till the rank of 2IC does these two things. Platoon commander is invariably at a very starting of your career, and later on you become company commander. Even as a 2IC, sometimes you don't have the luxury of having so many company commanders. So invariably a company commander will either become a 2IC, so he's doing two jobs together. So primarily that is the main thing, and in that you have certain troops under you. As a platoon commander, about 30. As a company commander, around 120, and in field area you have little more acts and deads from other arms and services who are with you in your post. So my first it was on a line of control, and it was a very highly volatile area, second stage acclimatization. So the task involved is to keeping everyone fit, dominating the LC, maintaining the sanctity of the LC, not letting any infiltration happen or exfiltration happen, and at the same time guarding the civilians, the villagers who were there. There were times when terrorists have come and try to coerce the civilian, or they try to take their help, or various reasons. I'll not go into the political part of it, but yes. So it was one place where we had the LC environment, we had the high altitude, which was second stage acclimatization, and at the same time we were involved in thick counterinsurgency because we had number of villages in the area. Like you can understand, with 32 kilometers of area, we had about, and some of them were pretty decent villages. Not means although it was a remote area, but they were big villages which had a lot of collaborators, I should say, and underground workers. So we had both the. So invariably, when it used to snow, it was more. We were more confined to the post and roaming around. But in the in the summer times, it used to be proper campaigning season, and so you as a company commander, you are invariably leading small teams there, but overall controlling all the teams. So like I remember my company at any given time used to have 15 to 16 teams moving out, dominating the area as well as doing operations in the village. And in addition to that, we used to have confidence building measures, something like Sadbhavna, helping the civilians. Maybe we were running a school. I was part of it for a good about 5-6 months initially, and then you are providing certain help given by the government to the local people. Means those kind of things also happen. You have recruitment rallies for the army. So there are a number of things which happen, but primarily what your main task for which you are sitting there is that. Yes, we had number of operations. Rather, my unit got a chief citation there because we foiled 2-3 infiltration bids. And the worst problem in this used to be when you're in the post, you are confined in your post and everything is fine. When you're moving out, you're in open. And this area being an LC, in addition to the CI challenges, had the challenges of shelling from the both sides. So there were there was one funny time I remember initial days, I was just trying to roam around and I was a company commander, a newly made company commander. I was elated. Oh, yeah, I'm company commander now, finally. And I moved out of my post. And the moment I moved out, and there were informers, they said, well, it means suddenly the parties opened up and we were all out. And means we didn't had any casualty that day, luckily, touch wood. But yes, means those kind of things happen. So we have seen both cross LC firing as well as this. Later on, when I went to means the CI operations in Northeast is an entirely different game. It is all about again, the task is same. You are company commander or a platoon commander, or you're leading a small team into operations. And we did a number of operations, but there it is more like in JNK, it is in abundance. There it is. Sometimes you are even meeting the cadres of the terrorist or the insurgent organization, and so you have a dialogue also open there. That is one thing. Second thing is, if there is a particular incident there, it will be always based on hard intelligence. You can't just beat around bushes. Like in JNK, you can actually, to some extent, I'm of the firm believer that any operation which you should do should be based on the hard intelligence. But sometimes you can't ignore, because the plethora of intelligence which comes, you have to react to everything until unless you have a reason why not to. So the insurgencies are entirely different, and the ideology of the insurgent groups or the terrorist groups are entirely different. So based on their ideologies, they have their respective modus operandi, and based on their modus operandi, you have to change your modus operandi. So that's how we used to. My last posting was primarily when I was commanding officer. That was again in LC. Means I've skipped few of the other ones because they have the general same setup of work. The last one was in LC, but this time the means Indian Army has grown over a period of time. The density of the troops has little bit increased to the vulnerable areas. So more than anything else, we were the LC battalion, and it was more of shellings and cross-border firing. And I can tell you that was the toughest tenure I've ever seen. And not only me, my boys also. And I remember very, very categorically, after 3 months in that area, I have not slept. I think I used to sleep 2 hours, 3 hours a day. It was really, really tough area. And one fine day, my Subedar Major walks up to me and he said, "Saab baat karna hai." I said, "Haan, batao." From his face, I could see. You know, I was doing something, and I said, "Oh no, this guy is really troubled. I need to listen to it." So he said that, "Saab, 29 साल सर्विस हो गया, सब देख लिया, ऐसा एरिया नहीं देखा, गलती तो नहीं कर दिया इधर आके." So I just laughed. I said, "Saab, आप I see motivation from you. I draw strength from you, and you are telling me like this." Look at me. I have not slept for means as a CO and Subedar Major, you are means we have seen COs like kings, na?
Yeah, true.
Means that gentleman will walk on a horse sometime, and means he has all the time in the world, and we used to do the hard work. And this is one time when even the CO and the Subedar Major are moving with weapon all the time. I used to carry 2 weapons. One weapon would not suffice. So then he also started laughing, and then मन में था तो बोल दिया, अभी देख लेंगे, अब आ गए हैं तो देखी जाएगी टाइम. And touch wood, the Brian did very well. We again got a unit set. Okay. So it's blessing. Means this is means there are so many stories which there just to sum them up in 10-15 minutes is not easy to say.
Yeah, of course, that's true. Yeah. So like you mentioned about the operation, so like were there any casualties ever in your unit or you have faced in either in Jammu and Kashmir or Northeast?
Yes, many of them, many of them. Uh, Rather, it's always difficult when you lose a trained soldier,
Yeah,
and
that's true.
there are times when incidents happen because of the enemy action or the insurgent action, and there are times when certain things happen just sheer bad luck, or you have not been careful. Like I remember in the first posting itself in JNK, we lost before we reached itself the advanced team which I was talking about. We lost two boys already because of lightning strike. We were new in that area. We were not aware of a lot of things, and it was so we lost two boys to lightning strike. We lost one boy to carbon monoxide poisoning,
Mhm.
and then later on we lost three boys in operations. So it was really difficult. I remember categorically. Uh, I wrote a poem also at that time. I put it on my YouTube channel now recently, about 3 days back. So those incidents are there. Then yes, Northeast also we lost. It's sad. At the same time, I should say you are trained for being a good soldier.
True.
uh, Losing a life without a reason feels bad. But yes, while doing valor, you have lost a life. That's probably the dream of every soldier, although you want to live. I firmly believe that you should live and kill the bastard. But,
Of course.
but at the same time, yes, it is inevitable. You can't help it. Whenever any Pelton goes to field, I remember very categorically when I was taking my unit to the field. As a commanding officer, you're the father of the unit, and you pray to Almighty कि जितने लेकर गया हूं उतने लेकर वापस आओ.
True, true.
Uh, it doesn't happen that way. It doesn't happen. I can be very, very candid. It doesn't happen that way because there are a lot of things which are not in your hand. And
That's true.
there's something called destiny, and it pains. It pains every time I remember. You can't forget those faces. And means I remember one boy I just lost in front of me, and he was my team, and we were moving. If he would not have stepped on the mine, I would have stepped. So
Oh.
then you carry him on your shoulder, and all. Those kind of things are there. Yes, yes, they are there.
So, like, you involved in those operations, and it's really disheartening to see that you have faced, losing the life of your own.
I will not say disheartened because this is our job.
Yeah,
If we will not do it, who will do it?
of
We are
course.
trained for it. We are trained for it.
Mhm.
Yes, it feels bad that we have lost because, and let's be very, very frank.
Mhm.
You lose a life when you do a mistake, and
Yeah,
you're a human being. You will do mistake.
of
There are
course.
there are few times when you have planned everything and everything is fine. Maybe you have overlooked something, or even if you have not overlooked something, the other person has better planning than you, so
Yeah,
he will succeed. It means it's I will not say it's a cat and mouse game, but at the same time you have to be vigilant, and you have to be effective each and every time you move out.
of course.
Sometimes you are not even so. What is disheartening is when you lose because of like lightning or something like that,
Mhm.
then you feel bad. But yes, uh, it's part of life. It's part of army life, and I'm sure it's part of each infantry officer's life. To lift up a body on your shoulder,
Mhm.
or lay a wreath is not easy. It's not easy. But these are the people who have made traditions of valor, and these are the people who has brought us that glory which with which the army is respected so much, because it's all it's, it's very easy to say, okay, it is your job, you're paid for it. No,
Yeah, of course.
understand that job is something you are paid, and you fall back your home. In this, somebody is paying you to I don't think you can pay someone to go and lose your life.
Of course. That's
So
true.
it is by choice. It is never by that you are paid. Okay, you may not have that kind of inkling, or you may not know before reaching in army, but once you have reached there, you know the risk. Then also you go there every time, again and again. That requires courage, not only physical courage, moral courage, honesty, selfless service. And that's why I think it's, I will not say disheartening at the same time. You feel bad, yes, but then you have to bounce back. Means like Subhash Ghai used to say, no, the show must go on, or Raj Kapoor, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
So that's how it is.
So, like, you
Yeah.
were awarded any medal or any decorations while serving the Indian Army?
Okay. There are a number of people who get this, and there are times when boys have done things. I did get an award during my command, and it was not for a particular gallantry one event, but for the complete tenure.
Okay.
So means for probably distinguished service for commanding troops so very well there.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I did get an award after coming from JNK. I reached here, and then when I reached here, I was told that I've been awarded. So it was a good feeling. It was a good feeling, although it is not gallantry, because what happens is there are a number of people who are involved, and when the firefight starts, you don't know actually who was killed, who.
Of
Okay,
course. Yeah.
whose bullet is there? So in that scenario, but there are very very famous one in which you have 1-1 or something like that. Like even in my command, we had two boys who straight away got Sena medals because they did something amazing, which was unheard of. Uh, so I got an award. I got a commendation card finally before I retire. So yes, I've got one. Yeah.
So, like, I just wanted to, yeah, aware this, that the purpose of this interview is to, talk to the interviewee, basically to discuss the shortcomings like you experienced during your service in the Indian Army, so that the lessons learned from your experience for the future generations. So, if you have ever faced any shortcomings or any challenges while serving in the army, both at the battle planning or in the field. So, if you
Okay.
a little bit about it.
I'll take it in three parts maybe.
Sure.
First and foremost is the administrative part.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. As on date, we are administratively very strong.
Mm-hmm.
But when we were young and the units were young, we were not.
Okay.
And invariably, unlike Air Force, which I've seen a lot now, Air Force, Navy, I'm not interacted much, but Air Force, yes, I have interacted much with their officer cadre, with their JCOs and boys. They have a system of something like NATO or advanced countries where they have the administrative setup already in place before the operational unit moves in. Invariably, army and I don't blame army for it. There are times which requires operational requirement that your troops have to reach there. Administrative backup will come later on. So most of the time which I've seen, it has happened this way that the administrative backup is not there, but the troops have reached. So it initially, and it has happened at lowest level also. I have seen it at the highest level also, both the levels. So this is one thing which I feel that we can improve upon, although no cribs about it actually, because again, as I said, you are trained for it. You are trained for staying in a jungle for 15 days at a stretch. I'm sure to certain place you can actually do things. But yes, if we can do a little bit more about it and be a little more meticulous, that is one thing which I'll say. As for the operations are concerned, I really don't find any this thing, because we must understand that till my level where I have served, we were only involved in the tactical level. I was never involved into strategic level, only during few of my staff appointments where I was part of the planning procedure. And those plannings were for a future war, means it didn't materialize anywhere. We just made plan. Okay. But something which I was involved deeply in was the tactical level, which is lower level, or as a CO or as a commanding officer. Rather, I should say, this is the only executional level which you have present. And I think it will not change. It will remain this way. People will make strategy, but the implementation will remain always with the battalion. And at that level, tactics, there is nothing wrong or right in tactics. And that's why I said that I didn't find anything wrong. Why? Because at that particular time, when the things is happening at that particular moment, how you decide is based upon your experience of that particular till that day. You may have had a good operation in your past which has given you fruit, so you generally try to emulate the same. Or if you have had a bad experience, but it does not mean that that was right or wrong. Even a wrong one will give you results sometimes. So that's what, like my last appointment before retirement was, I was instructor in Army War College, and there also we used to talk about to the students, there is nothing wrong or right. There is a particular way of doing things in which you don't miss out something very, very major. And this is taught across the board in all armies. I will say all the three services, Air Force, Navy, and so I don't think the planning procedure or the this thing is this thing. As for the operations are concerned, sometimes I feel we are a little short on the latest technology. Be it be surveillance devices, be it be weaponry system, be it be any electronic equipment. So this is one thing which probably we can refine a bit. We don't get the latest ones. By the time we get the latest ones, means which we would have, means the procedure is a little long. I think we can cut down that so that something which is new and applicable. Like I can give you an example. Okay, I'm roaming around in jungle with a weapon which is almost 10 to 15 year back was a latest weapon, and the terrorist or the guy in front of me who's trying to shoot me is having the latest AKs or latest Mausers, short range weapons, long range weapons. That's where we feel it's primarily related with CI operations. I'm not talking about the contemporaries on both the sides. There we have the parity, almost same parity. But yes, this one the late at the execution level, the latest equipment. Like I remember when I went as a captain. That time, bulletproof jackets, which the NATO or everyone, even the police has, the lightest of the jackets, Cavalier jackets and all. We didn't have. We had hard plates of iron which weighted 18 kgs, and means over the top of that you're wearing a huge, stupid kind of a thing on top, which is another 4 kgs. So it was difficult to function there. But and we had only 30 to 44,000 people. Nowadays we are getting it. There is no doubt about it. There is no doubt we are getting slowly. My point in all this is that we must fast forward certain procedures specifically to something which gives you an edge in an operation. One. Second is which secure your troops. So those kind of equipment, weapon systems should be, and there is no doubt of. I'm sure there are certain equipments which are obsolete, which we should immediately change. There are certain equipments. We are getting some of them in the J&K, but unfortunately, you're not getting it in the P, so you're not getting time to train on that equipment and reaching there. Means when you reach there, you have to train on ground, on job. There are certain weapons which are not even seen anywhere else except on NC battalions, some certain latest weapon systems. So this is one thing which I feel can be improved upon. So out of it means administratively, planning procedure and operations, I think these are the three things. If we work upon it, I'm sure we'll get it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like while you were involved in those operations, so how did you manage to, stay in touch with your family basically? Because we have often seen like you are in the back terrain, that you did not have like we used to actually, like my generation used to see in the movies, like everyone does not have a satellite phone, to just give a last message or something. So this is really
there's a very funny story about it.
Yeah.
I remember we were two officers newly married. And we reached this location, and I had a habit of writing letters, and my wife also used to respond accordingly. So every 3 days we used to write a letter, and they were all numbered.
Okay.
And he was not an avid writer.
Mm-hmm.
So one day on a radio set, on an army radio set, he called me up when he started. He's a senior, too, very, very senior.
Yeah.
But although he married late, and I'm thinking why he's bullshitting. So he said, "तेरे को बहुत प्यार आ रहा है," and this and that, and I was surprised. So I asked someone else who was close to him, I mean, who was in his company, सर को क्या हो गया आज? बोला आज मैम ने डांट मारा है कि राहुल इतने चिट्ठी लिखते हैं, तुम क्यों नहीं लिखते हो, something like that. So I'll say that at that time this was the only way of communication, and we had codes because sometimes you don't, like you said, VSAT radio. That time there was only one in the battalion,
Mm-hmm.
which the boys who were operating, they'll walk from one post, they will stay in one post. So there were about 24 posts. So 24 days he's walking,
Mm-hmm.
comes back in the battalion headquarters, then again 24. So sometimes you need to talk urgent, or somebody from the family wants to call you up. It was not easy. And whenever sometimes we were in forward, like I remember it was my birthday, I was in a post where I couldn't even, so I talked on radio set. So and I don't know whether you know it or not. It's like when one guy is speaking, the other has to listen. And when he says over, then the other guy presses the switches and he says something. So imagine I am on the line and I'm talking to the guy who's sitting in the battalion headquarters with the radio set, with my wife on the other phone on the radio set. And I'm telling him, now you can't say I love you. The boy has to translate. So you have codes for which you write it in the. So that's a funny way of staying in touch. Yes, we do used to get leave, sometimes operational requirements. So means we try and rotate officers. You go home, and so we have adequate leave from the field area, and so that was there. Yes, later on nowadays it's much easier. You have WhatsApp. You have. Yes, you don't have network that good in all the places where you are posted, but invariably, youngsters, during my time, command, we had very good network. Like I was a battalion commander, I had a Wi-Fi, but boys, it was not feasible for them. So forward post youngsters will find a particular corner in the complete post where they can talk. And now when you're talking, you are in a different mode. You're not in an operation mode. So what they did was that place, the network comes. So they have made a booth there, which is all protected with shelling and everything. So you go inside and then talk, and you'll find all funny ways of making adapters for increasing the strength of the phone and all. It was funny. It was funny.
Yeah,
Whenever I used to go and visit them, I say, यार तेरा सिग्नल नहीं आ रहा है यहाँ पे, मतलब बात कैसे होएगा? तो बोला सर वो वाला कोने में चले जाओ, वहाँ पे बात होएगा. So that's how it was. But yes, it is difficult to stay connected. It is only it hampers also your personal life. There is no denying it. But some people become entirely aloof of their family because they have seen some hardship, and when the connect is not there, the present generation especially is facing it more because the aspirations of the family and the soldiers may not match all the time. But at the same time, somebody is very well connected with their spouses and their family, they are able to do it. Means you can't help it. You can't help it. This is something which is you can't help it.
Yeah. So, like you mentioned, Colonel Rahul, that your Subeda was one approach once, and he tell you that why did the whole you landed on this bad train and this bad place. So, did you ever feel a pressure or a stress like you are on the at the helm of the unit and you have to just manage everyone and you have to just make content? That's a really good so how do the people in those areas actually entertain themselves and just get rid of the pressure or the stress in this situation?
It is from person to person, frankly, Vishal. Means it's not like I am dealing with a particular manner, so the other person can also deal with it. Okay, so I had I will not deny, every day during my command I was under pressure. Means I used to always think, oh, पहला call आते कि ना सबसे पहले वो I had made an order that the moment someone will call me up, he will say everything is okay. Then he will tell me what it is there because and there are times when people have said something else, not then anything is okay, and I knew that this is a red alarm. So it is very stressful. There is no doubt about it. There are certain times you are physically, mentally drained, and then also you're doing things. So it's everyone's way and means. Yes, we have the best way is sit and talk. Means that was I felt that if you're talking within your post, like you're just 10 boys, you're not even talking. You think you're your officer. You don't want to talk to them. Means you will keep a distance. That doesn't work because you also need a venting out. Yes, there are certain posts which are like as a commanding officer, they say it's a lonely post because you can't open up as a commanding officer. You have to pass orders tomorrow. You can't show your weakness or certain times. I mean, these are all leadership challenges, and I can tell you with honesty that anyone or everyone who has reached a particular rank and he has shown certain qualities, that means he do have those leadership quality. He is not just reached there just because of that. And yes, it is stressful, but then you have to find ways and means to come out of it. Like I remember I used to write poems sometimes. Like you're emotionally very low. I gave you an example of a boy in 2003. So I used to write a poem. Okay, but there is something very serious operation has happened. Or if nothing else, you used to get like I had a lalten in the post that time. Lights used, there were no generators and electricity अभी भी नहीं है. So I used to newspaper में किसी का अच्छा सा face आया तो I'll draw. So I have a habit of sketching. So I had my pencil set. It's easy to carry. So I used to make those sketches and all, and I think that was a good thing for me, which helped. Even as a commanding officer, I made a lot of sketches and all. When you're sitting in the night and you're waiting for all your ambushes to fall back, you don't have much to do. You're still worried कि आया नहीं है, and you don't want to sleep because that's the time the next team is gone and this team is coming. You are doing something or the other. If not something, then a lot of people read books. It helps. We get even the boys, and I find small games, indoor games, chess, Ludo, Saap CD, Carrom board. I'm telling you, these are the things which changes means. And then you have to play. You can't play them alone. You have to play with someone.
Of course.
So even the connect will happen. So there are a number of ways and means. Yes, it is stressful, but yes, then you have to keep meeting and keep motivating. So these are all leadership challenges. Yeah.
So like you served in the very serious operations and other things, like they have actually read very stressful for the fellow, soldiers and the fellow person in the unit. So did you recall any particular, humorous or unusual event while?
Well, there are a plethora of them. There's so many of them. I have to think now. You do most of the funny things when you are young. Okay, so I remember. I'll give you two of them. Yeah, we were doing an operation. I was young, very young, all with Josh and everything. ये कर दूंगा, यहाँ चढ़ जाऊंगा, वहाँ चढ़ जाऊंगा type. And in that Josh, we were not very successful initially, and me and my company commander were facing a tough time. I remember we both were cursed by everyone, and we were the two guys who were like, we are not sitting, but at the same time, we are not getting results. So there was one particular day when we were chasing some people and to a jungle, and my company commander had in the night done something, and I was told to go from the other side, and I was going in the morning, and the CO was really angry. It means तुम्हें 24 घंटे हो गए, तुमने कुछ नहीं किया. And so I was being the youngster, means normally means you have adequate service also. So I was going into the jungle and he was placing the blocks and all. So when I reached there, I realized it was a huge jungle. Means even if I would have taken 100 boys in that jungle, we would have been like, oh, it was like finding a needle in a haystack. So I requested the company commander, sir, आप थोड़ा इधर आ जाओ. And the CO was really angry that time, and he didn't wanted any other movement. So CO on the radio set started shouting. Guy has not slept for such a long time. We have not slept for the long time, and the colorful language he used that day, and then he started speaking directly to me. Rahul, he will not move. You will move. I said, yes, sir. He said, it's all on the radio set. Yes, sir. Over. No, I'm telling you, he will not move. You will move. Over. And he repeated it 5 times. In the end, he said, is it clear? I said, yes, sir, clear, over. Imagine this is the kind of radio telephony is happening. And everyone is listening. I mean, the complete battalion is listening. All about 1,000 people are listening. And so this is the third time when the CO asked, is it clear? So I didn't know what to say. So I said, sir, crystal over. And then there was a silence, and thereafter the CO started laughing. And on the radio set itself, he just laughed, and he ha 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 over. So one funny incident. Even in war hues, you can do that. Another one, the operation, something like that happened when I was commanding.
Mm-hmm.
So there was one of my posts which was pounded very, very heavily by the enemy, and there was around good about 8 posts which could have done the damage to my post. And I had a very relatively young officer who had just come. The post commander was there for 6 months, and he needed leave. So I sent him on leave, and this youngster was there, and the company commander was pretty senior. So I was okay. He was my commanding officer also. So one day when it opened up, so what the enemy did, he tried to isolate. So he pinned down everyone else, and when everyone was down, that's when he started hitting this post. So the company commander said, sir, I have lost connection with the radio line has gone, and there is no connection. And I can see from here that he is being pounded very heavily, and this boy is hysterical right now. And I can tell you, he was just a 30 days old commissioned officer. I could say 35 days old commissioned officer. So I checked up. So luckily my connection radio telephony was on with him. I said, okay, you don't worry. You just support him whatever you can. Let me speak to him. So I spoke to him, and he forgot everything. That boy, youngster, means 21, 20, I think 20 years old. And he said, sir, बहुत मार रहा है. आगे से भी मार रहा है, पीछे से भी मार रहा है. समझ में नहीं आ रहा क्या हो रहा है. So I knew, and his voice I could make it that he's just about to cry. So I said, yaar, see, buddy, it's war time. Please don't seduce me. And he also started laughing. Okay, just calm down and let me know which side is hitting you. And we had drills. We could identify from where the enemy, and I just told him where all to, because he was new. I knew that post very well. So I told him, Palana, do this. I gave him task. The moment I gave him task, he was clicked on this thing. And that day, in spite of the heaviest shelling which we received means till that date, and this is after Abhinandan. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
And Abhinandan happened above us.
Yeah.
So this is immediately after that, and that was the day. Means we not only we managed to control our own boys in the way I wanted. We within 30-35 minutes, because understand this, that what enemy does, we don't know. Means what volley or what volume, but the reaction is in our hand. So we reacted in a manner which the enemy got a very, very substantial casualties that day. And it was applauded all over. But I remember that one discussion with this boy, and it was funny. It was funny.
Yeah.
On the same day, means the neighboring battalion, also the CO, and we both are talking, and I'm saying he needed some help. Enemy has not started on me by that time. So I said, okay, I'll help you out. So I helped him out. And I said, I hope you are okay now. He said, I am okay, but I can see a missile going towards your post. And ये अभी आपकी ये पोस्ट निकल गई, ये निकल गई, ये मैंने कहा तू फोन रख, मेरी पोस्ट निकल. I am telling you, means the most colorful languages can come. These are just small ones which I've given you, but there are so many funny, so many of them. Means sometimes you get lucky, sometimes, but yes, it's good to laugh when you're under pressure.
Of course, that's true. That's true. That you are
Yeah.
that actually you enjoyed a lot in the Indian Army. That you face both the pressure and actually just managed to just keep calm all the persons in your unit. So it's
There is no way that I will say that I don't enjoy it. It's
yeah,
my uniform is my second skin. I can tell you for sure.
yeah,
And the complete army is my extended family. I can bank upon anyone anytime.
yeah.
Even now, I am leaving. I have left army for certain personal reasons, and I want to pursue higher studies.
Mhm,
At the same time, not even a single iota of regret of
mhm.
any day in the life. Means
Okay.
everything was a learning. I have a fantastic time. There's no doubt about it.
So like you have retired now and decommissioned from the Indian Army. So what do you actually think of the officers or the fellow soldiers? Like from your experience, like we have seen in the movies that very different sort of people in the field. Like you mentioned some of them in the while in the operations or while talking to them. So what
Mhm.
do you think about your officers or the fellow soldiers?
uh, I'm yet to see a bad soldier or a bad officer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There are certain times when circumstance, what you're talking about, the movies and all, they're all overly dramatized, actually,
Mm-hmm.
just to sometimes to entice more emotions in the populace. On ground, it all depends upon the team which is there, how much that bone is, and it uh, is society. Like even in civil environment, you'll find certain people don't gel together, certain people do gel together. So there are certain times there's only few of such. Yes, there are pressures of operations, and there are certain places where things do happen in a different manner. However, at the same time, I can tell you with confidence that each and every boy, whether he is Jat Regiment, Madras Regiment, Gurkha, Rajput, Bihar, Punjab, everyone across the board is like एक soldier एक crore का है.
Yeah.
This is how I feel. That guy is a gem, and we just need to know how to handle him. That's all, as an officer, and that's what we teach the junior commissioners. As for the officers are concerned, there is a very rigorous process from which he has come. The bent of mind from which he has reached. The interview, SSB interview. If you see the can you hear me? Because it's showing that internet connection
No,
diesel
yeah,
answer.
it's
Okay,
audible.
fair enough. Fair enough. So there is these officers. If you'll see the data of how many people apply for army officers and how many get into it, it's not easy. We have shortage of officers, but we have not lowered the standard of what you need to achieve. We are
Mhm.
okay with less officers, but we don't want the officers who are not able to gel into. We are not saying that um, uh, if you're not becoming an officer, you have not. Like I remember in my SSB, we were 105 people. 13 of us were selected.
Mhm.
Three previous SSBs, they were 120, 130 people. None was selected. And when they announced also, they announced it like this: that don't worry, all those who are not making it here does not mean that you will not do well in life. And they used to
Mhm.
give example of Shah Rukh Khan and Amitabh Bachchan. And they
Yeah.
also probably, I'm not very sure of it, but they probably would have tried for army and they never got it.
Yeah.
So everyone is I'm yet to see someone who's
Mhm.
means I have all praises for everyone. Yes, there are man management issues and certain disciplinary issues. Means you can't. There's a huge means out of 10,000 people, if you're talking about 0.1%, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So like now you have retired from the Indian Army. So like what did you do in after retirement? Like
So, as I told you, I wanted to study. So I'm looking for doing MBA, and so I have appeared for entrance exam and in December, just before retiring.
Mhm.
So I've just retired about a month and a half.
Mhm.
So all this time I have been busy with putting my applications to various schools. I intend to do it abroad. And because this is something which I feel that as an NDA cadet, I have not seen the college life. So it's never too late. So that's what I'm trying, and that's what I'm trying. So I've finished, and probably that's the reason why I told you that we can do it after 10, because till 10th I was busy with all those. In between, I do have people like you have connected with me. There are a number of other people I have another one lined up after 5-10 minutes. So who ask for my experience to be shared with students. There are a number of people who are trying to connect with me on LinkedIn, and the request for guidance for their kids. So it's all pro bono. So like I'm talking to you today, similar manner. So I try to make use of my time, and whatever I have to give to someone, I can give. Otherwise, primarily I'm waiting for my interview calls for the MBA, and if it happens, then let's. I hope for the best.
Yeah. So I will just wrap up with 2 or 3 questions, Sashish. Do you have any closer friendship while serving in the Indian Army? Like, although you had acquaintances as far as the professional part is concerned, but did you make them?
Yeah, here you have to understand one thing. That in Army there is nothing called professional acquaintance. It's all friendship. I have 842 course-mates, out of which for which few are may they rest in peace. There are a few of them are not there. Each or any one of them, if I give him a call today also, he's there for me. So the course-mates, the best means I have a lot of friends whom I can bank upon point blankly, a lot of seniors, juniors. So to name one particular, I don't think it will be justified for the rest of the other people. I have a lot of friends. Means, as I use the word, extended family. This is my extended family.
Yeah. So like
we are not called brother in arms for no reason.
That's true. Yeah. Like coming into your philosophical question. So, did your military experience influence your thinking on the war or about the military in general?
I will not say about the war for say, because I think I was trained for the war. It did not happen during my career, doesn't matter. But I was trained for war. So I understand, I'm very clear that military is an extension of a nation's policy. So it is not in my hand to talk about it, especially when I was in service. And I personally feel that I'm neither qualified nor I have that kind of expertise where I can make those kind of decisions. There are people who are meant for it and who are trained for it. So they do make their decisions, and I'm okay with it. I am a weapon in a hand of someone who's asked. Somebody may be skilled, somebody may not be skilled, but the military is a weapon in a hand of a warrior. Warrior can be anyone. I don't talk about any particular. I don't have any particular bent of mind for a particular government or something. Whosoever is sitting at the helm of the affairs, they make some policies and we implement it. So I have, from that war point of view, or this thing is, I personally feel it's not the task of a soldier to think about. As far as I'm sorry, what was the second part of your question? One was
like, what's your
life? Yeah. So yes, for my personal way, in my personal life, I have started enjoying small things. I've seen a lot of kids and they talk about big things. So what I have, my way of thinking is that you keep the eye on the bigger picture, but at the same time enjoy small things. One meal with friends, one cup of tea, one drive. So I've started really enjoying all my. This is my way of thinking has changed, definitely.
Yeah. So like, did you join a veterans organization now?
So as I told you, it's just been about a month and a half, and I've just finished my application. So as of now, no, I have not joined. But yes, there are certain groups which I am part of it. I was part of it earlier itself. Number of veterans in corporate world has a group which I am part of it, and it's from what I've seen, the conversations I've recently joined about. This is the only one which I've joined. It's called Forces Network. And one of my NDA seniors who have made it, and we know him since NDA days. And it's amazing. Means it is helping out, reaching a lot of people, Army, Air Force, Navy. Everyone is there. So that is one group which I feel is really working. I've seen whatever conversation and the people say thanks, and people are ready to help you. This is amazing. Yeah.
So like my last question will be to you, like how did your service and the experience actually affect your life?
It affects in any and every which way. The way you look at things, the way you talk to people. More than that, it tells you what you are. You are able to understand who I am. Like I am able to understand who I am today. And everything and anything is courtesy military service. Whether it was training during NDA, whether it was my seniors in my unit, where it was when I was doing staff, my bosses, brigadiers, major generals with whom I have interacted, it was fantastic. If I can speak about something today, that is just because my military career has taught me number of lessons for life. There's nothing means. I keep telling my boys that today, if I want to sleep in the night and I have taken a wrong decision, how will I face myself in the mirror? So we have learned. I don't know about means. Everyone has a different experience. As per my experience, I I will never choose what should I say, easier path just for. Can you just hold on? Just hold on. So I have chosen a means most of the times. Yes, when you're certain times you may not be having that luxury, but yes, it has changed me every way, any way and every way. I have started respecting my friends, family, anyone who gives me time just to listen, any stranger means to say that how it has affected. I can tell you what I am today is because of army. So how do I say? How do I explain this? It's everything and anything. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir, for sharing your experience with us. Like,
My pleasure.
you
My
just give
pleasure.
a very detailed, outlook of what exactly army is and how a fellow person actually experienced the army, both in the tough time and also enjoying the moments, very little moments. Basically, I can say that it's actually unfortunate on the civilians part that they were not able to, enjoy these kind of life once in a time. So I can say that you are really, fortunate enough, and you are very, very lucky that you have inducted into the Indian Army and you have actually served, and both actually made up very close acquaintances with your fellow person. So it was really wonderful to interview, sir. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
I
Take
will
care.
be uploading the recording. So
Yeah, sure, sure.